This is the Content Marketing Podcast, episode number 142, 4 Ways to Rock Q4 with Content Marketing. Hello and welcome to the Content Marketing Podcast. This is the show where we help you attract and retain business through the power of quality content. I'm your host, Rachel Parker of Resonance Content Marketing, and today is October 1st, 2015. Well, hello there, and thank you for joining us today for the latest episode, I should say, of the Content Marketing Podcast. Just a reminder, we are live on iTunes and on Stitcher, so if you're listening to this episode on the blog, you can click on over and subscribe. And of course, if you use a different app for your podcast listening pleasure, we also have an RSS feed, and I will provide that link in the blog post. Okay, today we start a brand new month. It is the 1st of October, and can I just say, whoever is hoarding the fall weather that rightfully belongs to us down here in Houston, would you please send it on? Okay. We are still in the 90s down here. I don't know what's up, but actually we've got some cooler weather coming this weekend, so I should be grateful for that. Also, October is a very special month here at Resonance. This year, October marks our 5th anniversary. Yes, we started back in October 2010, so that makes us 5 years old. Yay! Anyway, we've got some really special celebrations planned, some special goodies just for our loyal followers, and I will keep you posted on those. Okay, last week we talked about lead generation and why it's so important to offer those downloadable resources on your website. If you happen to miss that episode, feel free to check it out on iTunes or Stitcher or via the RSS feed. This week, we are talking about Q4. Yes, the fourth quarter of 2015 is upon us. And we're going to talk about how to make the most of the time that we have between now and the holidays to really get some rockin' content marketing going. But first, it's time to check in with our news feed for this week's rundown of news you can use. You know, it seems to be about once a year I start seeing a lot of my friends posting these updates about Facebook privacy practices. One I've seen over the past couple of weeks, people posting updates saying, with this update, I am claiming that I have ownership of all of my photos, blah, 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 and Facebook cannot get their hands on them. And then the other update I'm seeing is a story that Facebook is going to start charging $5.99 a month for advanced privacy features. But if you post this update, you will get this upgrade for free. Folks, let me tell you right here, right now, those are both 100% false, okay? There are no changes to Facebook privacy features, and even if there were, nothing that you post in an update is going to affect the level of privacy that you have on Facebook. So let me just urge you, when you start seeing things like this, please research before you share. Remember, everything you put out there reflects on you, even if it's just from your personal profile and not from your page. Do your due diligence. So if you see something about Facebook privacy policies that concerns you, the first thing I recommend you do is go to newsroom.fb.com. newsroom.fb.com. That is the official Facebook news site. And if any changes are in the works or if any changes have been released, that's where they're going to announce it. Another thing I do fairly often is if I see something that is kind of iffy, I will Google it. Google the topic, like, Facebook privacy update. And then when I get the search results, I click on the news tab in Google because that is going to be the news from verified sources. So if you see something that you want to share but are not too sure about, be sure to check out, do your due diligence. And, when in doubt, leave it out. And that's my advice. If you're still not sure about it, you don't have to post about it. So that's my soapbox about sharing these updates on, or these rumored updates of Facebook privacy policies. Speaking of Facebook, here is an announcement that has been verified. Facebook is updating the Notes feature. Now, Notes, we haven't heard a lot about Notes in recent years. It's kind of been out there. I use it for one of my clients to share their blog post, but it hasn't gotten a whole lot of press lately. So what Facebook is doing is they are evolving the notes feature to be more of a blogging function. So you're going to be able to add a cover photo that represents what your note is all about. You're going to be able to caption and resize photos. You're going to be able to format your text into headers or quotes or bullets. It's going to be much more of a kind of like what you would see on Tumblr or on Blogger or whatever your blogging platform is. In the blog announcing these updates, Facebook says they are rolling out new features, so it is still going on, and there's no indication of when everyone will have access to this new capability. Just check mine, and I don't have access yet, but it is in the works. And if Facebook is an important part of your strategy, this can be a really useful feature. So keep an eye on your Facebook and keep an eye out for these updates, and think about incorporating the notes into your strategy. One more piece of news, this one out of Twitter. Twitter is experimenting with polls. So you soon may be able to conduct polls from within your Twitter account. So instead of just posting a tweet, you'll be able to say, hey, what do you think about this? Yes, no, or ABC. People are going to be able to vote on whatever questions you put out there. So it is currently available only to select accounts, and it is currently, and I think they're going to keep it this way, it's only available within the Twitter native desktop and mobile app. So it's not going to be available through things like Hootsuite or TweetDeck. It will be only be available through Twitter desktop and mobile. And this could be a really great function. I'm always harping on the fact that we have to know our audiences. We have to keep our finger on that pulse. We need to know what they're thinking, what they're concerned about. And this is going to be a great tool for that. So I will keep you posted. I know I don't have access to it yet. I think it's very limited right now, but it is probably going to be available at some point to all of us. So good news out of Twitter. Okay, our content hit of the week is a post titled "From HBR to Mashable: How to Be a Guest Writer on 11 Popular Sites." This is a post by Lindsay Kolowich on the HubSpot blog. And this post reminded me of our interview with Mike Fishbein from a few weeks ago, where he shared some great advice about guest posting, and we talked a little bit about kind of the nuts and bolts of submitting guest blog posts, and he remarked that every site has its own norms for submitting posts. For example, some have an online form that they asked you to complete, or some prefer that those pitches go to a specific email address. Well, in this post, Lindsay goes through 11 of the most popular business sites on the web, and this includes entrepreneur.com, Fast Company, even the New York Times, and gives you the exact submission procedures for each of these sites. Terrific information. And each one, like I said, is a little bit different. So if you are planning to add guest posting to your strategy, and I highly recommend that you do, definitely check out this post, and you might want to bookmark it for when you pitch to each of these 11 sites. So great post, and I will share the link in the blog post for this episode. That's it for this week's update. If you stumble across something you think might be of interest to your fellow content marketers, please shoot it on over to us so that we can share. Now it's time for this week's Spotlight segment, 4 ways to rock Q4 with content marketing. Okay, well, here we are, the 1st of October, and it's the start of a brand new quarter, specifically the last quarter of 2015. Yes, 2015 is 3 quarters over, folks. I can't believe it. And Q4 is an odd place. It's kind of bookended between the lazy, hazy days of summer and the whole back to school busyness. And on the other end, we are looking at the onset of the holiday season here in a few weeks, at least here in the States. Kids have been back to school for a while. People are settling into routine. And then looking ahead, once Thanksgiving rolls around in late November, we shift into the holiday mode again here in the States. And for many industries, not much happens from mid-November to the end of the year, especially on the B2B side. A lot of folks are taking vacations. They're using up that vacation time towards the end of the year. Lots of family stuff going on, lots of holiday stuff going on, and tends to be not a whole lot going on. So really, if we're going to get anything done before the end of the year, we need to focus our efforts on the next 6 weeks between today and the middle of November. Fortunately, hey, we have 6 weeks. We can do a lot of rocking and rolling in the time we have available. And that's what this post is all about. So I'm going to show you 4 ways to rock Q4 with your content marketing. The first thing you can do is dust off that 2015 content marketing strategy. And if you have not looked at your 2015 strategy since January, you're definitely not alone, okay? We get these strategies, we spend a lot of time on them, kick them off in January, we're all excited, and then of course life happens. Product launches, personnel changes, leadership changes. We just get busy with those day-to-day tasks, and a lot of those kind of big picture initiatives get put on the back burner. So again, we have 6 weeks. Pull out your strategy, blow the dust off, chase the moths away, and give it a good read through and find out, maybe there are things in there that got backburnered or that got pushed to the side that you might have forgotten about. They may have totally fallen off your radar. Look at the assets that you had planned to create. Maybe you were planning a new ebook. Maybe you were going to do an original research project and do some market research, or maybe it was a training course that you wanted to start, or a webinar series. Look at the tools that you had planned for. Maybe you were going to get started on Instagram. Are you going to look into starting to use tools like BuzzSumo or Buffer? And also look at the media that you had planned for. Maybe you were going to start creating infographics. Maybe you were going to start doing presentations and posting them on SlideShare. Start a list of the things that were in that plan that you haven't gotten around to, but that you want to accomplish by the end of the year. And then take a look, pull out your calendar, take a look at the next 6 weeks and see what you can get on that calendar, see what you can plan out and commit to doing by the end of the year. The second thing that you can do in these next 6 weeks is to rev up your social media and really look at what you've been doing from the big picture. Scroll through those LinkedIn updates or those tweets and look at your results and think, has anything gotten stale? Or do you find yourself revisiting the same type of posts over and over again? Have you gotten into kind of a rut? Well, this is a great time to breathe some new life into your social media. Whether it's you want to start a crowdsourcing campaign, if you wanted to start doing expert chats, maybe incorporating voices from around the company, maybe some innovative uses of video and images in your social media, get your team together and start brainstorming ways to kick your social media into high gear so that you can finish this year strong and start strong in 2016. The third thing you can do is create a new lead generating resource. And this is something that we talked about last week. If you need to get some new leads in your funnel, if things are kind of starting to dry up on you, downloadable resources are a perfect way to do that. And it could be an ebook. It could be as simple as a checklist. It could be an audio, or some brands put together a kit. It might be a white paper, a checklist, and an audio resource that they offer. Post that on a landing page and invite people to download. And of course, in order to download it, you want to invite them to share their email addresses so that you can get them into your tribe and get them into your regular audience so that you can start sharing your content with them on a regular basis. And for those who are in your target market, get those into your sales funnel. The fourth thing that we can do to really rock content marketing in Q4 is to get seasonal. No matter what industry you're in, you can find an interesting and engaging way to tap into what's going on at this time of year. And this is a really busy time of year. We've got Halloween coming up, the end of October. We've got Thanksgiving coming up. Of course, the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. We've also got football season. Hey, if you want to get my attention, start posting about football. I will be all about that. But invite team members to participate. So I remember, back when I worked for an ad agency, every Halloween we had a pumpkin carving contest. And yes, given that we were a creative agency, there were a lot of really creative ideas. And we would put those pumpkins online and invite people to vote for their 3 choices for the best pumpkins. And it was a lot of fun, and really it got people engaged in a non-business way. It was just kind of a fun side thing that got our brand in front of people in a way that was fun and engaging. And you can do a whole lot of different things during this time of year. You can do special giveaways, you can do special campaigns, you can do a fun caption this campaign, maybe from your Halloween party. Also, we're coming up on the time of year where a lot of people are thinking about giving, thinking about donating to charities, supporting nonprofits. So that's something you can think about. Come up with ways you can support a favorite charity. Have your team decide who do we want to support, and then create a campaign around it. And what I would advise you to do if you go that route, don't just ask for money. Don't just say, hey, we're raising money for XYZ charity. Really create a campaign around it. Tell stories. Talk about why you chose this charity. Maybe someone on your team has a very personal connection. And if they're comfortable with that, go ahead and share that story. Talk about how you are supporting the cause besides donating money. For example, if you're supporting Big Brothers Big Sisters, share about what employees are involved in the program and share some of their stories with the kids they're working with. It will get people involved when you're not just asking for money. You involve them in the story and make them part of that story, and it makes them really easy for them to care about what you're doing. So those are a few ideas for ways to rock Q4 with your content marketing. Of course, if you have any questions or you want to add to the conversation, or if you want to share your own tips for rocking this last portion of the year, I would love to hear from you. And I will give that contact info at the end of the podcast. Now it's time for our content marketing tip of the week. For today's tip, I want to talk about an issue that is very important, especially for larger organizations, and that is knowledge management. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was doing a consultation for a marketer in a major corporation, and this was something that was very prominent on her mind. And the idea of knowledge management is that you have a lot of people in your company who have a lot of knowledge, and that knowledge is a tremendous resource for being able to create useful and valuable content. So the challenge is, how do you, number one, get that knowledge out of people's heads and into a place where it's saved, or it's accessible, and where you can turn it into an asset, a content asset that can really work for you. And, this challenge is much bigger than we can cover in our tip of the week. But I just want to make sure that you're thinking about it. A lot of times, and I have clients in the oil and gas industry, and this comes up very, very often. They have these engineers who have a tremendous amount of knowledge that could be going into their content, and they keep thinking, oh, wow, this person would be great to have to incorporate what they know. And then before they know it, that person has retired or left the company and taken all that knowledge with them. So start thinking about how you can implement some kind of knowledge management system. I know there are several proprietary tools out there that are more formal apps, if you will. Or you can start by simply using tools like Evernote or even Google Docs, and really encouraging your experts to share that expertise, whether you do that through interviews or just inviting them to talk into a microphone about what they know, however it is that you can capture that. And I promise you that the time you invest in gathering and storing that knowledge, that investment is going to pay off handsomely by providing a rich resource, for impactful, engaging content. Okay, campers, that's it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Content Marketing Podcast. If you like what you've heard today, please feel free to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or via our RSS feed. And if you really like what you've heard, please leave us a quick review on iTunes. I would so appreciate it. For more information about content marketing, you're welcome to visit our website at resonancecontent.com, where you'll also find links to our pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and other social networks. As I said, we've got a new month starting today, and a very special one because this month marks our 5-year anniversary. I've got some special goodies planned for you, so I invite you to stay tuned for details. As always, I like to leave you with a quote, and today's comes from Samuel Johnson. He once said, quote, what we hope ever to do with ease, we must learn first to do with diligence. What we hope ever to do with ease, we must learn first to do with diligence, unquote. Again, this is Rachel Parker with Resonance Content Marketing. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you again next week. Take care.